Welcome to this online technical consultation for the Improving Maternal Health Measurement Project. My name is Sri Perera. I am a Health System Strengthening and Sustainability Advisor for RTI, assigned to CDC Tanzania. I've been asked to share some thoughts on a new untested construct 5.4. On the left, we have the proposed construct for measurement, an indicator that tracks the capacity of national information systems to record and report maternal newborn cause of death data. On the right, we have the request made by stakeholders who participated in the EPEMM indicator development process. Presence of national information systems that are able to record and report data as described by ICD-PM, perinatal mortality. I will share some thoughts on the construct and how this informs gaps and strengths for the proposed indicator. I would like to focus on three components within the construct. The word tracks. This is key to me as it means the construct needs to be able to monitor progress over time. Capacity of national information systems is key because it highlights that the goal here is to align with health system strengthening efforts, and this is not a standalone or parallel approach. Cause of death data is key because it makes clear the construct is looking for specific data according to defined standards. Let's consider the state of measurement with respect to the construct. Both SDG 3.1, maternal mortality ratio, and SDG 3.2, neonatal mortality, are difficult to measure over time. Civil registration with complete coverage and medical certification of cause of death is defined as preferred data source, but this is not available in many countries. Similarly, SDG indicator 1792 provides an existing measure that tracks whether a country records cause of death data. This is helpful because it provides a comparison across countries, but countries can also use completeness measures to track their own progress over time. There are actually 14 SDG indicators that require cause-specific mortality data. All of these state that cause of death distributions are estimated from death registration data when available and include references to ICD-10. Since our goal is to consider health system strengthening, it's important to note that CRVS capacity and completeness are almost always included in measures or evaluations of National Health Information System quality and capacity. Let's look at some of the resulting data from these indicators. What you see here is under 5 mortality rate as of 2015. As we all know and expect, it highlights high rates of under 5 mortality across low and middle income countries. Here, you can see the maternal mortality ratio for 2015. The challenges in low and middle income countries again, and Africa in particular, are even more pronounced. Here you can see the completeness of cause of death data 2017. This is actually for 2016. Yes, I think it's pretty clear to all that it's almost inverse of what we were looking at before. What I hope you can see here, and something that was emphasized in WHO's systematic analysis from 2014 on global causes of maternal death, where data are needed most, data are often not available. Of the 10 countries with the highest maternal mortality ratio in 2010, data available for only 1. The report also highlights that where data is available, they are often incomplete. This emphasizes that accelerated action is needed to improve data acquisition and quality, especially relating to cause of death attribution information. Other sources emphasize the same message. World Health Statistics 2019, monitoring for the SDGs and the Sustainable Development Goals, says that few low and middle income countries have CRVS systems that produce cause of death statistics of sufficient quality to guide public health decision making. How does all this relate to EPMM strategies associated with improving maternal health and survival? The same report points out that design and monitoring of maternal health programs is impaired by incomplete information on the frequency and cause of death, and data are scarcest in countries where MMRs are highest. A 2017 systematic review of methods used to obtain estimates of maternal mortality ratio in low and middle income countries, published in the British Medical Bulletin, emphasized that reliable data are needed so that adequate resources can be allocated to maternal health programs. Ideally, civil registration systems with high coverage and good attribution of cause of death provide accurate data on the level of maternal mortality and causes of maternal deaths. But it also highlights that less than 40% of countries currently have accurate maternal mortality ratio data. Only 2 of the 49 least developed countries have greater than 50% coverage. From a feasibility perspective, I do want us to look at where we have made progress. Here, we're looking at the status of birth registration in the year 2000 on the left and death reporting in 2000 on the right. Obviously across Africa, wide gaps across Africa with many countries having no data submitted. When we jump forward to 2010, although there is progress in both, there is much stronger improvement in birth registration. In many of these countries, governments, funding and implementing partners have collaborated and invested in birth registration. We have not seen the same focus in death reporting. I know in Tanzania, for example, there is a wide group of partners supporting birth registration over 5 to 10 years. We have just started to implement and plan new death reporting system approach. In 2015, the World Health Organization and the World Bank launched the CRVS Scaling Up Plan, 2015 to 2024. The plan emphasized a current example of weak CRVS systems is the lack of credible and coherent maternal mortality statistics in areas where mortality is highest. A universal registration of deaths with cause of death would make it easier to track the level and causes of maternal and other deaths and to take necessary actions to identify and address causes of mortality. The plan includes targets up to the year 2030 and more specifically includes targets for completeness of maternal and newborn deaths, reported, registered, and investigated. So let's return to our construct. Reviewing the construct again, I believe the construct is valid. It's clear the construct is measuring national system capacity over time to record all deaths with cause of death. It meets the program needs. CRVS is the ideal source for the cause of death data. Feasibility, in regards to feasibility and data availability, middle-income countries have already demonstrated they can use civil registration data for estimating maternal mortality ratios. We acknowledge it is a challenge to obtain reliable data from low-income countries, but the construct helps track progress towards improving the health system so that in the future we can. Countries that have a national death registration system that are already reporting, countries that don't are actively working to establish systems as it is a key global objective. Since it aligns with health system strengthening goals, it does not overly increase reporting burden on countries. In regards to harmonization, I think it's clear. A health system strengthening indicator like this would strengthen and complement existing efforts to strengthen death registration with cause of death data. For the construct regarding usefulness and interoperability, World Health Statistics 2019 emphasized the need for CRVS systems that continuously and routinely generate vital statistics even for the smallest geographical areas and by socioeconomic status. To be useful and interpretable indicator, the indicator must work for international, national, and subnational levels. Ideally, we would stay away from a subjective yes or no answer. And it must be routine, regular data that countries can monitor. For maternal and mortality and neonatal mortality, countries need to understand what needs to be addressed, where, and be able to monitor progress. Thinking about the construct and data quality, the indicator has global significance and improvement is possible everywhere. Even in high-income countries, misclassification and underreporting exist, so there's still room for improvement. A harmonized approach will improve data quality for both maternal and newborn mortality and CRVS more broadly. An example is importance of including pregnancy status on death registration forms. There is a defined quality of standard. As shown in the proposed indicator, for this use it would be ICD perinatal mortality, which is the WHO application of ICD-10 to deaths during the perinatal period. In summary, I want to highlight a couple takeaways. The 2017 systematic review measuring maternal mortality in low-income countries kind of phrased it well when it said, to end preventable maternal deaths, it is crucial that countries develop systems and processes to ensure the ability to count every maternal death and identify the cause of death and contributing conditions. Ideally, MMR estimates should be obtained from civil registration data, which provide both numerator and denominator data. This would also assist in monitoring any trends in maternal mortality ratio over time. Survey estimates exist, but these approaches are not the ideal, and in particular, they don't provide continuous routine source of data for countries to monitor progress in smaller intervals of time or to monitor progress at subnational levels. Thank you for your time. I've included a brief list of references here, and I look forward to discussing the construct with you all in the online consultation. Take care.